I'm Pamela Brown in Washington. Welcome to our viewers in the United States and around the world on this Saturday evening. You are live in the CNN newsroom, and breaking news tonight, a third COVID-19 vaccine has been authorized for emergency use by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Deemed safe and effective, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is expected to clear its final hurdles at the CDC by early next week, and it couldn't come soon enough as more than 500,000 American lives have been lost to this pandemic. CNN's Natasha Chin has the very latest on how this FDA emergency use authorization will change the fight against the virus.
A third coronavirus vaccine will likely become available as soon as next week, now that the Food and Drug Administration has authorized Johnson & Johnson's single-dose vaccine for emergency use.
Significantly, the vaccine is highly effective in preventing severe COVID-19.
The Johnson & Johnson vaccine requires no complex refrigeration and only one dose. The company says it's ready to begin shipping doses as early as Sunday.
Having an additional safe and effective vaccine will help protect more people faster.
And more people are eager to get one. A Kaiser Family Foundation report on Friday showed 55% of surveyed adults in the U.S. had either had at least one vaccine dose or is eager to get one. That's up from early December, when only about a third of adults surveyed wanted a vaccine. There's still more demand than supply, especially after last week's winter storm sweeping through the Midwest and Texas disrupted the supply chain all over the U.S.
Vaccination sites like this one outside of Atlanta saw none of that severe weather, but are feeling the effects. This afternoon, they're seeing all the people whose scheduled second dose appointments were canceled last week due to shipment delays caused by the severe weather.
More groups of people, like younger adults with underlying health conditions, are becoming eligible for the vaccine in some states.
I think I was actually shaking because I was like, oh my gosh, I can go get it. I think I was the youngest one that had been through so far, and so they were all like, wait, we don't know what to do yet.
With nearly 7% of the country fully vaccinated, the number of cases, deaths, and hospitalizations continue to stay lower than the holiday peak. But the majority of U.S. states have plateaued or worsened when it comes to new cases. Only 17 states show downward trends. This relative progress is threatened by rapidly spreading variants.
We have variants that are in play. We must address these.
And the lifting of COVID-19 restrictions in many states. New York nursing homes reopened with restrictions Friday to some visitors, and Tennessee lifts restrictions on visiting its long-term care facilities Sunday. South Carolina will lift restrictions on mass gatherings starting Monday.
I'm worried that people are lifting restrictions saying this is over when the reality is we're not over yet. We're really right now in a race between variants and vaccines, and we have to do whatever we can to shut down this virus.
Natasha Chen, CNN, Atlanta.
Conservatives are looking for a reset this weekend at their national convention in Florida. But after losing the White House and Senate, there is one speaker who will command more attention than all the others. Just hours from now, former President Donald J. Trump. Jim Acosta is in Orlando tonight watching a CPAC gathering like no other. Jim?
Pam, even though Donald Trump is a defeated ex-president, this is a Trump love fest at CPAC. He is, of course, going to be giving the closing speech on Sunday at this conference. But in addition to that, you're seeing Trump world figures roaming the corridors of this CPAC. We saw Trump advisor Roger Stone making the rounds, talking to fanboys who would come up to him and ask for his autograph, ask for a selfie with Roger Stone. We also, at one point, tried to catch up with former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. We tried to ask Pompeo whether or not he still stands by this comment that he made shortly after the 2020 election when he said that there would be a continuation or a transition to a new Trump administration. Obviously, that didn't happen, and Pompeo didn't want to talk to us. But all throughout this convention, speaker after speaker, they are making the case that the future of the Republican Party depends on Donald Trump. And we saw that earlier in the day when Congressman Jim Banks was making that case to the crowd here at CPAC. Here's what happened.
The most popular Republican figure in Congress today is Kevin McCarthy. Let me tell you who the least popular Republicans in the party are today. They're those few, very few, Matt.
There's tittering out there. I just want you to know.
Those very few Republicans, the least popular in our party, are the ones who want to erase Donald Trump and Donald Trump's supporters from our party. If that happens, we won't win back the majority in 2022.
And Pam, anytime you try to talk to some of the attendees here at CPAC about whether Donald Trump in fact lost the election or whether he had anything to do with the violence that we saw on January 6th, some of these CPAC attendees will become irate, even hostile with you. As for the former president, as he prepares for this speech on Sunday, he is meeting with ex-advisors down at Mar-a-Lago. In fact, tonight he is having dinner with his former acting director of national intelligence, Rick Grinnell. Pam?
Our thanks to Jim Acosta. And my next guest is a Republican who has split with the mainstream GOP on big issues like COVID and the election. Utah Governor Spencer Cox is with me now. Nice to have you on, Governor.
Hey, it's great to be with you, Pamela.
So let's start with this breaking news that the FDA granted an emergency use authorization for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. How big of a development is this? And have you been given the details you need to plan for the arrival of these new vaccines?
Yeah, we have. We've been working very closely with other governors and with the Biden administration, assuming that this would be happening. We all hoped it would happen. We've been praying it would happen, and it did indeed happen. And we expect that we will be getting several thousand doses in the next couple days. That's been open to us. We've been planning for it. This is big news. It's a single-dose vaccine. It doesn't require the refrigeration, and it's just another tool we have in fighting this terrible virus. And honestly, right now, of course, we have a supply problem. Demand is far outpacing supply. But with what we know from Moderna and Pfizer, now with Johnson & Johnson, by the end of March and into April, we're going to have a demand problem. And that's going to be a better problem to have.
Well, let me just ask you really quickly, though. So you were saying you're going to get the vaccine. You've been coordinating with the Biden administration, and you expect it to be soon. Does that mean you expect shots in the arms from the Johnson & Johnson vaccine in this coming week?
Yes, that's correct. We expect shots in arms this coming week. We know they have about 4 million doses on hand right now, ready to go out. They'll start shipping those out, we believe, on Monday. We should have those shots, we think, on Wednesday, and shots in arms on Thursday and Friday. That's a big deal for our state and for Americans everywhere.
That is a big deal. And you've also been very optimistic about your state's trajectory overall with COVID. And you've even made this prediction earlier this week. Let's listen.
I'm telling you, I'm not going to be wearing this on the 4th of July. And I'm going to be in a parade somewhere, and you're going to be there covering the parade, and you're going to be really excited, and we're going to put these in the fireworks and blow them up or burn them or something. I don't know what, we're going to do something. But if I'm wrong, then I'll come here and I'll admit that I'm wrong and that we're going to do something different.
Now, as you know, Dr. Fauci has warned we could be wearing masks until next year, and health experts say Americans need to be vigilant because there could be another surge with these new variants. Does your rhetoric about no masks by July 4th undermine that message that people should not let their guards down right now?
No, in fact, I think it's the exact opposite, and I'm really worried about that message that we're hearing. And look, Dr. Fauci and others, they're brilliant, and they get paid. Their job is to be cautious. That's what they're supposed to do. And so they're looking at all the possibilities out there and warning that we have to be cautious. But I think they may be having the opposite effect. If we keep telling people that nothing's going to change with these miracle drugs that we have, then they're going to take their foot off the pedal now, because people aren't going to be able to do this forever. They need to know that there's hope. They need to know that there's something bright at the end of this. And we have that now. We have these vaccines. They are miracle vaccines. I mean, the numbers are incredible. 75,000 people with these 3 vaccines in the United States during the trials. Not one of them died. Not one of them was hospitalized after 4 weeks. This is the message people need to hear, so that they will be careful now. They'll get the vaccine. They'll get the second dose or the first dose with Johnson & Johnson, and knowing that we're going to get out of this. That's what's going to keep people vigilant, not telling them that maybe in a year or 2 from now we'll be able to take our masks off. So I actually think that message is harmful. I think a message of positivity that we know something better is coming is the right message right now.
And you're willing to amend that message if we still see surges and the numbers like we're seeing right now, right?
Oh, of course. And that's what's important. Again, the experts have been wrong. By the way, go back and look in December. Every single expert and every single model said that right now we would be peaking. Going into March, we would be peaking and then slowly coming down. And the exact opposite happened. So look, we just don't know about this virus. We learn and we adapt. But having a hopeful message right now in 2021 with what we know about where the surge is, and it's falling, where vaccines are, what's happening with variants right now, all the news is positive, and we need to be sharing that with people so they will get the vaccine, so that they will be ready to get their lives back to normal.
A lot is positive, but the variants that we're seeing emerge, that's certainly not positive and of concern. But I see the argument that you're making, that you need to be optimistic. It's interesting, though, because as you know, many Republicans felt that mask mandates and COVID restrictions took away their freedoms. Former President Trump led that charge on messaging. Tomorrow he'll speak at CPAC. Is he the future of the Republican Party, in your view?
Well, I don't know what the future of the Republican Party is right now. I just want to go back to variants for a second. We are worried about variants, but the latest news on variants is better than what we've been hearing a month or two ago. And so we're cautiously optimistic there. But look, Republicans will decide the future of the Republican Party. Certainly, he plays a very important role, just like President Obama did when he was finished. I mean, he was someone that people look to. I think he's one of the reasons that President Biden was elected. Was he had a long tail that carried Biden along with him. And that's what presidents do. They're part of the party as they leave. How important he will be in 4 years, I can't say, but he's certainly an important part of the party right now.
But what's unique about this is he lost the White House, and he is essentially being exalted at CPAC that we're seeing right now. Would you support Trump if he were the Republican nominee in 2024?
Well, it would be difficult for me. I've said that before. It was difficult for me in the past. And so, I'm probably not the best guest to talk about this. I'm the boring guest who hasn't watched 1 minute of CPAC. We're right in the middle of our legislative session, and we're trying to govern, and we're dealing with this pandemic. I don't pay attention to CPAC and those sorts of things. I don't think most Republicans do. And so again, we'll have a process that we go through. We'll decide. I like builders. I believe in people who are trying to build the party up and build people up and make our country a better place. We haven't always seen that. And so I hope that there are some builders that rise to the top of the party.
All right, Republican Governor Spencer Cox, thank you for coming on the show. We hope you'll come back and talk with us as we continue to cover COVID and all kinds of issues.
Thank you, Pamela.